having the right frameworks and tools to help you explain things. An example of a framework would be, I have a framework that I use to empower people. It's called the 3-3-1 framework, empowerment framework specifically. And inside that, we talked about it in other episodes, but just to give you a little preview here is be willing to ask 3 questions of anyone who comes to you with a challenge or an issue that they need you to weigh in on. They want you to make a decision or they want you to do something about it. And so it's very common for you to be able to listen to what they're saying and then just spit out an answer. Well, that doesn't really empower them that much. So this framework will help you get to the heart of it. The 3 questions are, or the first one is, what is the real problem? They should be able to answer what the real problem is. The next question is, what's causing the problem? And the third question is, what impact is this problem having across the organization?
Welcome to Grow Think Tank. This is the one and only place where you will get insight from the founders and the CEOs of the fastest growing privately held companies. I am the host. My name is Gene Hammett. I help leaders and their teams navigate the defining moments of their growth. Are you ready to grow?
Today we talk about organizational alignment, and specifically, how do we improve organizational alignment using 2 specific ways to do that. I like to do these solo episodes every once in a while to be able to, really just share with you some of the things I'm seeing in the field of executive coaching. I've been an executive coach for over 10 years, been working with some really high-powered companies that are doing tens of 20s, 50, 100 million in revenue. And I really love what I'm doing. I mean, I say that openly because I get a chance to connect and hear from so many people. But I'm also hearing that these people, even though they're growing fast and their companies are moving in the right direction, they're not void of problems. They have challenges that they have to overcome. And one of them is organizational alignment. I was having a good conversation with someone the other day. I won't mention who it was, but it was someone that I've interviewed on the show. And we were just having a conversation about the challenges of organizational alignment, specifically around people knowing what they're supposed to be doing. They come into work highly engaged and they don't need oversight. That's how he defined organizational alignment. And I want to say thank you to that conversation, whoever you were, because it gave me the fuel to talk about that today. We're going to go over 2 different ways to improve your organizational alignment. And specifically, they are sort of different. They may seem some overlap in what we're doing, but the first one is structure. A lot of people resist structure. Smaller companies typically don't have much structure. There's a lot of chaos, but they want more structure to, take away some of that chaos. They want to allow people to move forward, but yet there was a resistance to doing that. I was having a conversation with one of the team members I work with. I actually coach their entire sales team as well as the leaders of the company. A big part of what I'm doing is not just coaching the highest level company, but how do we actually make a difference across organizations? That takes us into coaching other people throughout the organization. Well, there was, before I started working with them, the sales team had no weekly meetings, nothing in place. There was no structure on how they would move forward. And so it's something that you want to make sure that you are aware of, that if you do want more structure, one way to get that is by having the right frameworks and tools to help you explain things. An example of a framework would be, I have a framework that I use to empower people. It's called the 3-3-1 framework, empowerment framework specifically. And inside that, I've talked about it in other episodes, but just to give you a little preview here is be willing to ask 3 questions of anyone who comes to you with a challenge or an issue that they need you to weigh in on. They want you to make a decision or they want you to do something about it. And so it's very common for you to be able to listen to what they're saying and then just spit out an answer. Well, that doesn't really empower them that much. So this framework will help you get to the heart of it. The 3 questions are, or the first one is, what is the real problem? They should be able to answer what the real problem is. The next question is, what's causing the problem? And the third question is, what impact is this problem having across the organization? Now, you should train them to bring you the answers to those no matter what. You should be able to ask those questions and you should tell them, hey, next time you have a problem, make sure you have those for me so we can get on the same page. Because sometimes you might be solving a problem that's not on the same page. You want to make sure there's alignment around that in your language. But this framework is just one example inside this. The other 3 is, what are the 3 options you see available to us? You want the employee to give you their options and you want to be able to coach them through, if they're missing something. And hopefully they've gotten the thinking a good solution in front of you and with these three options. And then the one part of this framework is what's the decision you would make? The decision's one path. Now, can we do two things sometimes and simultaneously? Yes, but that's a decision. Deciding which path to go forward is one decision. And so you want to make sure that you have this 331 framework inside your things. This is just one example. And I'm only giving you this one little example because you want to make sure you can document, half a dozen or a dozen frameworks inside of what you guys are doing. Every business is going to be a little bit differently. You're going to have your own industry specific frameworks. You're going to have leadership or people frameworks. You're going to have sales frameworks. You're going to have all kinds of frameworks that provides structure. You also want to make sure you have tools. A framework could be a type of tool, but you want to make sure you have the right training available to people. I've had a client of mine that, there was a new service line that was developing, and a lot of people were unclear how to sell this service line until one salespeople decided to record their calls, and they took those recordings and they put them into a framework. They put them into a PowerPoint deck and said, here's the questions we asked, here's what we're looking for. And now everyone's tuned in to how to sell this, and it's actually working. Other people are selling it because we're building frameworks and tools together to create that structure. So that is one way to improve your organizational alignment. My hope is that you will try to create more structure and systems to grow your business, because that definitely gives you something to attach to if you want more organizational alignment. Just before I leave this could be your mission, vision, and values. I find a lot of people are missing either having them or clearly using them, and they're certainly not operationalizing them the way they could. Those are parts of that structure and systems of your business. The mission, vision, and values. We'll unpack those in future episodes, but those are a part of that. The second piece behind organizational alignment is rituals. I think rituals are best described as the things that align us together, that we enjoy. Sometimes habits can be, something we don't enjoy. We can have bad habits for sure, but rituals are things that we do enjoy. One ritual your family may have is going to church. And so that becomes something that, everyone hopefully enjoys and goes and does the church thing. Other rituals might be the way you take breaks in the afternoon, the way you start your days. The rituals are really about the cadence at which how you gather and what you're doing inside those gatherings. It could be with one person, it could be with multiple people, but if you want to create organizational alignment, it's with usually more than just yourself. It is creating rituals that really allow you to move forward. You want to make sure you're having the right meetings inside your organization. Sales teams should meet probably much more often than they want to. I think production teams should meet much more often than they want to. I think customer service teams should meet much more often than they want to. There's a pattern you see here, right? A lot of people will resist meeting because they think that it might not be useful. Your job is to make sure these meetings are very useful. I have clients who weren't doing executive meetings before we started, and we talked about it, and a lot of the misalignment things were because they just weren't gathering. There was a lot of rework and a lot of communication issues, and they all got together. They have a right flow for that meeting. They do it once a week, and it works like a charm. They would not dream of ending that because it has worked so well. And I have some clients that are like, oh, that's too often for our team to meet together. And I get it. We're meeting overloaded, but you want to make sure that you're meeting often enough and you got the right kinds of meetings. Inside sales teams, you want to make sure that you're meeting at least weekly, sometimes daily in the early stages of making sure people are tuned in and people are moving forward. It is working like a charm for my team so that I'm doing the daily meetings with, or the weekly meetings with, excuse me. I will also say you need quarterly meetings. You need to be able to reflect back on things that are going well or didn't go well, and be able to strategize moving forward and really be honest with yourself about those things. Each quarter, each kind of teams should be having these kind of results. We call them quarterly business reviews, where we're looking at the previous quarter and planning for the next quarter. And we do that every quarter. Now, what are the advantages of having these meetings? Well, it allows us to communicate with each other. It allows us to share the numbers and some of the wins and some of the other intangibles in a format that allows us to move forward with alignment. This whole conversation is about organizational alignment, and I'm giving you more structure, more rituals as two ways to do that. Are there more ways? Absolutely. But you want to make sure that you're tuning into the right structures and the right rituals that move the business forward. Your job is not just to get the work done, but to create a team of people who are, trust each other, who collaborate, who take ownership. And these are just some examples of what you can do. If you have any other questions about, the work I do as an executive coach, make sure you reach out to me at genehammett.com and you can schedule a call. We'll talk about what's going on in your business and we will get to know each other. Absolutely free to you. And if you think that's a fit for what you're doing, whether it be from a team level, we have programs like Leadership on Ramp, 8-week kind of get to know you, or 8-week programs to push your leadership skills forward of the middle managers, frontline leaders of your company. And it's been phenomenal for all of the companies that have been working with us this past year. If you have any questions about how to continue growing, how to continue to evolve as a leader, reach out to me at genehammett.com. Look forward to sharing with you. When you think of growth and you think of leadership, think of Growth Think Tank. As always, through courage. We'll see you next time.